Hi, this is Behind the Astronauts, a little bit of presentation about NASA's mission control. My name is Jennifer Turner. I am 24 years young. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science and engineering, and while I was at college, I was also a NASA intern at the Robonaut team, our robot here on ground and in space, and I was also a intern with the Cronus flight control position in mission control here at Johnson Space Center. Currently, I am a full-time employee in Cronus training again. So I'm here to talk to you about what a flight controller actually is. So a flight controller and the flight controllers are experts in spacecraft systems, and for my case, I am going to become an expert in the computer systems for the International Space Station. Now the flight control team here at Johnson Space Center is made up of a lot of different disciplines. There's usually one person on each console inside mission control, and they rotate out every 8 hours or so. So some of the flight control positions are for different ops, like Robo, which is robotics ops, Topo, which controls where the ISS is and its trajectory, VVO, which handles visiting vehicles like our Russian vehicles, our SpaceX vehicles, and etc. Our surgeons and BME, which keep track of the astronauts' health, and RIO, which deals with our international interactions. Now there are others at MCCH, MCC Houston, plus a lot of our other ones at our international partner centers, like in Russia, in Japan, in Europe, and in Canada. So there are some positions that are 24/7, which means they're there all day, 365 days a year. Now the one most people know is the flight director. Now the flight director is the person in control of the team, and they have the ultimate authority in the room whenever they're on console. Now GC, or ground control, is in charge of our ground networks and making sure that everything is fine for the satellites down here on Earth up to the space station. Now there are some core systems, and there are 4 of them. There's ADCO, Ethos, Spartan, and Cronus. Now ADCO is in charge of the attitude control of the ISS, so how it's tilted and how it's moving. Ethos is in charge of the life support systems and internal thermal control. Spartan is in charge of the power generation using the solar arrays, which are the huge yellow things you see spinning around the ISS. And they're also in charge of the external thermal control. Now Cronus is in charge of command and the computer systems on board, which control everything on the ISS. Additionally, they are in charge of the communication systems, which deal with our satellites and the antennas on board. Now, if you couldn't guess from my degree and from how I talked about it, I am currently a Cronus in training. So our flight controller training consists, for the core systems, of very intensive classes. It's kind of like being back in school. So for the core systems, it takes about 1.5 to 2 years, and it includes a lot of different things like boot camp, which is a general overview of all the systems of the ISS, command training, which is teaching us how to actually send commands up to the ISS to control things on board, and then our technical flow, where we actually learn all of the technical things about each of our systems individually. Now, during our technical flow, we also go into simulations. Now, the simulations are split up into 2 different kinds. There are mini-sims, which are just the core systems and a role-play flight director. They're about 4 hours each, and they're about 25 total that we go through, once per week. After we've graduated from these mini-sims, we go into the integrated simulations. Now, these integrated simulations are actually held next to the real-time room and include all of the flight control positions. It also includes a RIO flight director, and they're 8 hours each, and we go about 7 to 10 of them before we're fully certified. Now currently I'm training as an operator, which is the first level of becoming a flight controller. The operators themselves can support Orbit 1 or Orbit 3, which unfortunately is the afternoon and the night shifts for the ISS. Now operators have a basic knowledge of all systems, but once we're done certifying as operators, we can also become specialists and instructors. Now specialists can support any orbit, including the shift from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the ISS. They have more extensive knowledge, and they're also the ones that operators call when we're in trouble. Now, instructors also have more extensive knowledge, but they focus more on training new operators coming up, and also they train the crew members, so astronauts and cosmonauts that come through. They make sure that the crew members know enough to be able to tell their way around our systems. Now, these are all good and well, but all of us together work as a team to try and carry out the foundations of flight operations. Now, the foundations of flight operations are to instill the qualities of discipline, competence, confidence, responsibility, toughness, teamwork, and vigilance. We also have to be aware that unexpectedly we may find ourselves in a role where our decisions have ultimate consequences because the lives of the crew are in our hands. Additionally, we say that our greatest error is not to have tried and failed, but to not give our best effort. Now, using this, we work all together in order to ensure the future of human space exploration. That's all I have for you today. My name is Jenny again, and if you want to find out more about me, you can look at Jenny on Console, which is my vlog project documenting the entire way to become a flight controller. And you can find me at these links on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr. I hope to see you here soon.